you should feel a certain amount of energy in between your palms. It's almost like some people are going to feel electricity, some people are going to feel a shock, some people are going to feel like a pressure or a force pushing the palms apart. If you start moving your hands back and forth, let's say fingertip to fingertip, thumb to thumb, and you start moving your hands back and forth, you should feel energy in between your palms. And you have your hands kind of rounded as if you're holding a ball, with your fingertips open and your thumb spread open as if you're holding a ball. Now, for those of you that have created your list, this is how you're going to manifest what is on this list. This is not the only way, but for people that are kinesthetic that feel like they have to do something, this is how you do something. As you build the ball up and you keep moving your hands back and forth, you're going to feel that energy and that heat pressing up against your palms, which means you have to move your hands further apart. Because like any type of atoms and molecules, this pushing back and forth starts to generate an increase in how the atoms and molecules bump against one another. That generates heat, which causes expansion. And as the atoms and molecules seek to expand, you need to move your hands further and further apart. And you're going to keep building this ball and filling your hands moving further and further apart. And you can move your hands around as if you're trying to knead it and make it perfectly round until you have it approximately the size of a beach ball. Now, for those of you that have something that you want to manifest, especially if it's something important, something major, and the more important it is, and the more emotion you can get behind it, whether that emotion is joy, anger, or whatever it is, and this is not to be used to attack anyone. I've told y'all before, I'm not about that. I'm not here to attack anybody. I don't give a rat's. If that's what you're trying to do, this shit is going to blow up in your face. Because if you've been doing the sounds, you're going to start vibrating above the heart. And you're going to start vibrating from a psychic place, which means you should have less and less desire to hurt other people. And if you don't have less desire, you didn't do something I said, and you need to call me so we can tighten it up. Now, in the event that you're thinking you're going to create this ball and throw it out there so you can hurt and harm somebody, especially if it's anybody that's any of my listeners, that shit, and you don't know who my listeners are. How about that? This shit is going to bounce off of somebody else's egg and slap you right upside your head, magnified, and you're going to be on your ass. And don't call me, because I cannot and will not help you. Now, as you continue to make this ball, and for those of you that don't know what you want to do with it yet, and you don't know what you want to put in it, you can throw it in a corner and just let it hover there, and just put it, throw it in the corner and know that it's there and say, when I'm ready, I'll call you back. And when you call it back, it'll come to your hand like a magnet. And then you start building it and putting in it what you want to put in it. But as you build this energy ball, you are going to focus on what it is you need. You got somebody going to court, or you got a job interview coming up, or somebody's been falsely arrested for something they didn't do, or something to this effect. You can only do this if this is like one of your own children. You're not supposed to use this type of work for other people or other people's people. Under no circumstances are you supposed to take psychic energy and try to do work for someone else, especially without their permission, because you start to interfere with their psychic journey or their, what's the word I'm looking for, their karmic trip. So after you create this ball, the whole time you're kneading on this ball, you're putting in here, prime example, when my son, the second time, he got arrested for something he didn't do. I told you guys before that I got on it. I'm like, we are not going through this, because the first time LAPD did that, I had 2 jobs, my own 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage home in L.A., and I got destroyed. I lost both my jobs and my house and my son, and the IRS was still up my butt. Now, this is before I knew all of this, but certain people, that's what's wrong with people that think they're white. Certain people should not be messed with. They're probably dreading the day that they went after my son. I'm sure they are, because it was them framing him that got me on this journey that's getting me to get everybody else on theirs. If they'd have left my son alone, I'd still have 2 jobs, and I'd still be in my house. I may or may not own a car by now, but I used to rent a car from, I think it's National that has the green. I used to rent cars every weekend. My son was minding his own business. But anyway, he got framed. He got arrested. Nothing I was doing was getting him off. And calling on Yahweh and all this shit, that shit didn't work. I'm telling you now, for all you Yahwehs, that shit don't work. Jehovah don't work. Jesus don't work. None of that shit was working. The stuff I'm telling you guys now, this works. Anyway, he wound up sitting up in jail for a whole year for something he didn't do. But the second time, I had cut my protection from him because he and I got into it one night. He said some shit that pissed me off. I had company over, me and a brother that lives in Compton. We're in L.A., laying in the living room floor, and I was like, you know what, since you're so grown and you got your shit in order, cool, do your thing. And I went, like a lot of women do. Once they cut their protective cord off of a brother, a lot of them start to fall because they think they don't need women, but you do. At any rate, I cut the protective cord and said, he's grown, let him go. Or so he told me. I'm laying on the living room floor with dictionaries out. Me and my homie, I'm looking up words, and I'm showing him stuff because that's what I do, show people words. And I heard helicopters and stuff, but I didn't think much of it. It didn't even sound like it was where I was. Now, normally when I'm all on my game where my son is concerned, as soon as I hear anything that sounds like helicopters, police, or he's not in the house, I'm outside trying to see where the hell he is. Because I know LAPD is the most vile and corrupt law enforcement system I've ever seen. But at any rate, I lay there and we're talking, and he's laying on the floor because, you know, that's why I don't let people wear shoes in the house. We lay on the floor a lot. All of a sudden, somebody comes, knocks on the door. Now, my son is outside. The gate is open, and they said, you know, your son just got arrested, and woo, woo, woo. They just had SWAT and all this shit. And I'm like, for what? Turns out that he was accused of doing something that took place when he was at work that he didn't do. At any rate, this is what I did. The next morning, I said, I am not going through this shit, because I went to the police station. I talked to people. They wouldn't let me talk to my son. They were like, oh, he's not getting out. He won't be released. As soon as he'll get out, it'll be 2 or 3 days. I said, what, he can't OR out? Even if he gets out like that, it'll be still 2 or 3 days or whatever the case may be. So the following morning, I got in the shower, did my salt stuff, got out with nothing on, and I started invoking everybody. I'm calling on the ancestors, the soul guides, spirit guides, guardian angels, my higher self, lower self, subconscious, superconscious, astral bodies, soul bodies, mental bodies. I called everything. All those that came before me. Anybody that gives a damn about me and my son. Anybody that has our most appropriate interest at heart. I need everybody on this. And the whole time I'm talking, I'm standing there with nothing on. Now, I drew down energy. You have to draw down energy, and do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, si is one way to do it. I had my arms out, stretched out like I was a cross, with my feet apart like I was a 5-pointed star. I had one hand facing up to the sky, one palm facing down to the ground. Now, if you know how the circuit of energy works, when you're drawing down power and energy like that, the left hand is the receiving hand, the right hand is the pushing hand. That's why when people say, talk to the hand, they throw the right hand up in your face. They're pushing energy at you. So when you know that, you draw the energy down, and you make sure that you switch so that at one point, your left hand, which is the receiving hand, draws energy from the sky, while your right hand sends energy to the earth. And then you switch so that your left hand is drawing energy from the earth, and your right hand is sending energy to the sky. Now, after I drew down this energy, I started kneading on this ball. The whole time I'm kneading on it, I'm invoking and I'm calling everybody that I need to get on this. I want everybody to get on this. I don't care who you got to talk to. I don't care who you need to touch. You go fuck up the computers. You lose documents. I don't care how it's done. I don't give a rat's ass. Misplaced files, my son needs to be out of here. Find whoever is responsible for whatever the problem is. Do whatever you got to do. I nor him can go through this, and we are not going through this again. He needs to be released. And when I was done kneading that ball, and that ball was huge, I threw it out in the direction of the damn jail his ass was sitting in. And the next day, I got dressed. That was the same day I got dressed. Now, keep in mind, they said the soonest he would be out would be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning at best the next day because he got arrested the night before. This morning, I create this energy ball. I manipulated. I kneaded it until it got so damn big, and then I just threw it. I don't give a damn. Talk to people in their sleep, I don't give a shit. Make it happen. Make it happen. Fix this. Fix this. And that's how it goes. I don't play. So at any rate, I go to the store that accused him of something that he hadn't done, and I took this picture of my son. I said, I understand that my son was involved in some sort, and I knew he wasn't because I knew he was at work at the time, but I still went in there like that. I understand that my son was involved in something that transpired here. This is his picture. Was it him? Because some fight occurred in the store, and they were like, no, it wasn't him. We know him. He comes in here every day. That young man comes to work. He's on his way to work every day in a suit and tie. He's a real nice guy. He didn't have anything to do with it. I said, well, he's in jail right now for this. And they were like, oh, no, they need to let him out. It wasn't him. I said, are you willing to sign a statement to that effect? Yeah, you want us to go over there with you now? I said, no, that's not going to do no good because they're not going to talk to us. So anyway, I said, I'm going to go home and I'll be back. So I went home and I typed up the statements. I typed up statements for the people that worked in the store that were the so-called witnesses. Who, by the way, the police told my son, they picked you out of a lineup. And for all of you out there, don't never, ever pick anybody's photo out of a damn lineup unless you know for a fact that it was the person. Don't go, well, it might be him. I don't know. He could be the guy. They don't even tell you the cases they shove down these people's throats because you said, well, it might be him. If you don't know, say, I don't know. If you do know, say you do know. But don't point at anybody that you're not sure and go, well, I'm not sure because they're going to move on that person. Anyway, I wrote letters for the employees of the store. I wrote a letter for a couple of letters for his employers, his supervisor, which was a European, the manager of the company, which was a brother, the president of the company, which was a brother. I went down there, and they signed off on the letters. But before I got to them, I went back to the store. Did the letters, went to the store. Now, this is how fast this energy ball shit works. I ain't playing. The stuff I'm telling you is real simple science. And the Europeans can't fuck with this science, excuse my language. They can't do nothing with this. They're technical. They have technology. They use technology to try to disrupt the spiritual, while people that are into magic, witchcraft, and voodoo use the physical to try to disrupt the physical. I'm telling y'all it's about using the spiritual to disrupt the physical because everything that's physical is made up of the invisible from the spiritual. At any rate, I go to the store. When I walk back in, these people had somebody else there. One guy signed off on the document. The other one didn't want to sign off on the document. There was a European lady that lived on my block. See, and I'm telling y'all this because, a lot of people on some holiday, I hate white people. I don't hate no damn body. I don't like people that don't like me. How about that? Now, and even those people, I don't hate you if you don't like me. I don't like you if you don't like me. Don't mean I hate you. Just means I don't give a rat's ass one way or the other about you. Anyway, I go into the store. There's a European lady in a wheelchair in the store. And the guy in the store said, talk to that lady right there. Now, he signed the document, but he said, talk to this lady right here. She can help you. Now, this is how, didn't I say, I don't care who you got to touch whoever needs to be touched, fix this. So she said, let me see your son's picture. I handed, because she knew all about this situation that happened at the store. I handed her the picture. She looked at it, and then she laid it on her chest with his face to her chest, and she rubbed the back of the picture, and she said, he didn't do it. It wasn't him. I said, what are you, psychic or something? She said, no, but he didn't do it. So she said, do you have a minute so we can go over to the police station and talk to the police? Now, there's what y'all call a white woman, sitting in a wheelchair. I said, yeah, sure. So we went over to the police station. She rolls up in her wheelchair, and She's like, hi, and people calling her by name, she calling them by name. I'm like,